Welcome to Conspiracy Corner Podcast, everyone. I'm just heading to work. Got a decent drive, and I don't know, felt like podcasting. Kind of took the last 2 days off on podcast, and I just wasn't feeling too good. Haven't really been doing much though, just trying to catch up financially. Last month I had both the cars in the shop, and then rent was right after that. Just trying to catch back up, you know. I'm sure you all know how it is doing the grind. And then I've been doing overtime. Last week I did overtime. I'm going to try to get overtime this week. And man, I tell you what, like last year when I first started at you already know. When I first started where I work, it's a grocery store. I was working like overtime like every week because I was living with a dude. But I got financially where I wanted to be. I got in my new apartment, all that jazz, and just got comfortable. I tell you what, when you haven't worked overtime in a long time, and then when you go back to doing it, my ass got weak as hell, dude. But I had made a video before on the old channel, and I don't know, like I had made a podcast, and I put it out there, and for some reason it was I think it was Opus Dei, an episode on Opus Dei, the secret society. And sometimes I'll stay up, you know. Usually I'll just set it for premiere, and then as soon as the video's done, I'll eat breakfast and go to sleep because I work third, you know. And for some reason I stayed up and stayed during the premiere, and surprisingly, the video was just exploding. So there was a shit ton of people in the live chat, and I made a video afterwards because, I mean, it was blowing up, and I was responding, you know, as quickly as possible, the best that I could through text, and then I just made a respond to comments video because the premiere was over, and the person was asking, like, I don't know, just questions that I couldn't answer in like 2 or 3 sentences. And they were actually kind of interesting questions. It was about other people in the field. And I answered them respectfully. But, I'll just kind of tell basically what happened. Was during the podcast, the Opus Dei episode, and you can check it out, it's on the old channel, Abe Williams, it's on YouTube. The profile picture is Sideways Dreamcatcher. But during the podcast I had said, I know a lot of people think Dan Brown is like a disinfo agent. There's some people that like him, and then some people that hate him, you know, especially within the Christian community, because I think he kind of pissed people off with the whole Da Vinci Code, which I never understood why, because I've always kind of had the theory that Jesus could be married. I don't see any problem why Jesus couldn't have a wife, you know. It doesn't say anywhere in the Bible that he's not supposed to be married. If anything, the people at that time when Jesus was around, if he wasn't married, they would have thought he was probably gay, meaning they would have stoned him or tried to stone him, you know. I mean, you got one dude hanging out with 12 other dudes walking around. That don't look too good, you know. But yeah, I guess it pisses Christians off because the thought of Jesus like having sex. And I guess where he's the Son of God, I don't personally get it. I mean, he would have just as much urges as us. He had physical urges when he was out in the desert, fasting for 40 days and 40 nights. So if he can have hunger, I'm sure, not trying to be gross about your God or whatever, but I'm sure he got horny too. And there's a whole documentary I watched way back in the day on Mary Magdalene. The area that she was from, there was like a pagan cult, and the way that they married was that the woman would wash the man's feet with her hair. And a lot of people don't even know that during that scene, and this is my personal belief, I mean, this whole documentary laid it out how Jesus was married to Mary Magdalene, that was actually her marrying Jesus. It was a marriage ceremony. That, and there is like sections in the Bible of like the apostles getting jealous at Jesus, like why is she your favorite? Why are you always hanging out with her? And Jesus kind of made like a homophobic joke, like why wouldn't I? You all are men. It would pretty much be gay for me to be like, oh, Paul's my favorite. He's like, she's a woman. Of course she's going to be my favorite. That, and it's like, he didn't say it, but they were married, in my opinion. But I think that's why a lot of people got pissed off at Dan Brown. And all it was that's basically just a fictionalized version of an older book called Holy Blood, Holy Grail. And once again, I did a book review on Holy Blood, Holy Grail. It was actually a double feature book review. I did a review on Holy Blood, Holy Grail and a review on, not Da Vinci Code, but it was called The Da Vinci Code. And it was like a Christian perspective of basically some dude, he wrote like a small novel debunking the Da Vinci Code. I mean, it was okay. It's just, I thought it was just Christian propaganda, honestly. But you can find that review on my old channel also if you want. If you want to check it out, if that's interesting to you. But the person in the comment section had said, in the podcast, I had said, I always liked Dan Brown personally because I've always found his movies interesting. I'm not going to lie, I haven't actually read Da Vinci Code, but I've seen like Angels and Demons. I've seen Da Vinci Code, and I always liked his work because to me, he serves a good purpose as being a good red pill for someone who is like completely blue pilled. And especially for someone who doesn't like to read like nonfiction. Some people are like that, they get bored with nonfiction, like, or like watching documentaries, they'll fall asleep during them because they just get bored, and I get it, especially being an American. I understand that, like our attention span is short, So I always thought, that he was honestly a good, book or movie to loan to someone to red pill them, especially like if it's someone Christian, like if you could get them to start questioning their faith on if Jesus was married and if that's a bad thing or a good thing, or then you can kind of slowly wake them up with films like Zeitgeist, and stuff like that. Which they kind of get into some Zeitgeist stuff, like how Jesus is Horus, and Also Mithras and all these other deities that were around thousands of years before Jesus, and it's literally the same story of Jesus, you know. That, and he drew a lot of attention to CERN, and because a lot of people didn't even know what CERN was, you know. And then you watch the movie Angels and Demons, and I already knew what CERN was, so like the whole movie was like terrifying to me, of them basically being able to make dark matter, which they have, but the concept of the movie is they capture dark matter, but the container that it's in, like, can't hold it forever, and like it ends up becoming like a bomb almost. I could be totally butchering it because it's been years since I watched it, but the person in the comments section, I'm assuming, and I could be wrong, but I'm assuming they were Christian, so they were like, well, what if what he's saying is lies? And I couldn't help but laugh, and I'm like, yes, what he's saying is lies. That's why it's a novel. Like, I'm not trying to be a smartass, but anytime you pick up a novel, something that says fiction, that means it's fake. Is it based off of real stuff? Or real theories? Or something that is real? Yeah. I mean, like I said, there's already... The book was basically a book that was written off of another book, Holy Blood, Holy Grail. Even the author, Michael Bygent of Holy Blood, Holy Grail, the main character of the Da Vinci Code is an anagram. If you switch the letters around, it just spells Michael Bygent. I'm trying to remember what the character's name was. Tom Hanks played him. That's another thing too, though. I think a lot of people got turned off by Dan Brown stuff because he used Tom Hanks, and that's a whole nother rabbit hole with Isaac Cappy and his cryptic, weird Twitter or Instagram post and stuff like that. So it left a bad taste in people's mouth. But yeah, it's like, well, what he's saying is lies. It's fiction. I mean, he's telling a story. Now, I personally think he's useful to the truth community because he's red pilling people who would normally be blue pill, you know? And a lot of people he gets accused of being like disinfo and Illuminati, and I just think he's probably like most people who like most people, a lot of people are just kind of like nerdy conspiracy theorists, and it's like, hey, I want to write a book, hey, I want to make a movie, like, you know, so I'm going to make movies and books on conspiracies, you know, but in a fiction form. You know, I remember one of my favorite cartoons, Gravity Falls. A lot of people were like, oh, I can't stand that cartoon, it's so Illuminati, and it's like, yeah, like the main character's a pyramid with an eyeball named Bill. You know, he has a top hat and a cane like the Rockefellers. You know, all the episodes are about like cryptids and UFOs and ghosts and conspiracies. And because the guy who created it, literally, Alex Hirsch, is a conspiracy theorist. So, like, of course he's going to make his show about conspiracy theories. Like, you're gonna see all that Illuminati imagery and stuff because he's a conspiracy theorist. If I made a cartoon, it probably would be something like, you know, Gravity Falls. And I thought Gravity Falls was an excellent show because it was kind of, I wouldn't say red pilling, it was kind of like purple pilling kids, you know, like getting them at an early age to kind of question and kind of, in a way, not so much indoctrination into the truth community or the conspiracy community, but just kind of give them like something to think about, you know, entertain them, but also kind of like, here's a little tiny red pill, you can have a sliver, you know. But, yeah, do I think he's disinfo? No. I just think he's a dude trying to make money off of conspiracies. And a lot of people see that as like a bad thing, like, oh, he's trying to make money off of conspiracy theories. He's all about the money. And it's like, dude, people have to have jobs, you know? I don't make money off of this podcast. I just do it for fun. But like, when I go to the grocery store to stock the shelves, yeah, I want to get paid. I mean, if you wrote several novels and made several movies, what'd you think? He was just going to do it for free? Like, that's his job. You know, he wrote the book wanting his job in life to be a writer. You know, and I can't remember if he directed them, but if he did, a writer and a director. He wanted to do something with his life. So I never understood of like the whole concept of people wanting you to put out stuff for free. I don't understand that. Like, oh, if you write a book, you should just, you know, spend months, if not years, writing a book and then just here you can have it for free. Like, no, I think people should be able to sell what they create, because I mean, it's work. You know, you can't just write a book in a day. I mean, you could, and it'd probably be trash and no one would buy it, or read it. But I've never wrote a book. You know, I've always thought it would be fun. It seems cool, but I imagine it would take for fucking ever to write a book. But the person was also asking, what are my opinions on David Icke? And I like David Icke, you know. I think he puts out a lot of truth. When I first got into the conspiracy theory stuff, he was honestly like the first dude that kind of, besides like friends and stuff, I'm talking about like the actual other people in the field, as far as like content creators and stuff. He was like the first one who kind of red pilled me, you know, was David Icke, you know, because at the time my buddy was showing me all the stuff on the dollar bill, and I've already told this story, but I'll keep it short. He was kind of just waking me up, you know, telling me about the Freemasons, telling me about the stuff on the dollar bill, telling me about the Illuminati. He was a black dude, and me and him both were into like rap music, and he was telling me how all the rappers are closet gay, and they got to do gay rituals to make it big, and they sell their souls to the devil and crazy shit. So of course, like, his personal opinion was the reptilians, you know, and he learned that all from David Icke. I didn't have internet at the time. I was reading as much as I could read on like the paranormal and just as much conspiracy or occult books as I could get from like Goodwill or flea markets and stuff. I was consuming as much knowledge as I could without the internet, you know, because I lived out in the country at the time and stuff, and me and my ex-wife, we didn't have internet for, I think it was like 5 or 6 years. That's what cracks me up when everyone's like, oh my God, the internet's gonna go down. So, like, dude, I was like a 90s kid. I remember when internet first came out with like dial-up and shit. Like, we used to have lives before the internet, you know? We used to have cordless. The cordless phone was amazing, dude. I remember when my mom she first got a cordless phone. I remember when she first got a cell phone. We were like, oh wow, this is so futuristic, you know? I digress. I'm trying to remember where I was at though. Okay, the reptilian thing. Now, my opinion on the reptilians is, I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Is there possibly a reptilian race? Maybe. You know, is it from the Draco star system? I don't know. To me, that seems kind of convenient that the reptilian aliens come from the Dragon star system. Like, how do they know that? You know. To me, it just seems kind of convenient. Like, where did the reptilians come from? Oh, the star system's shaped like lizards. Oh, that makes sense. You know. I mean, I don't know. It just seems convenient. Now, David Icke, like I will say, when he first woke up back in the day, he was on an interview show, and everyone seems to, like, forget it. And like I said, I like David Icke, and if you want to hate on me in the comments, I really don't care. I'm going to keep the video up, because I took it down because I was a pussy at the time, and I'm like, fuck it, I don't want to argue with people. And then, I don't know, I got to rethinking, I'm like, no, you know what, fuck them. I don't care, this is my opinion. I'm gonna leave it up. I'm saying I like the dude, and they're too dumb enough to actually hear my words. Like, I wouldn't be where I'm at now without people like David Icke. You know? And the thing is people don't understand, like, I might disagree with you on the shape of the earth. Or I might disagree with you on, you know, politics or religion. I might disagree with you on religion. You might be a Christian, but doesn't mean that everything I'm saying is wrong, you know? And it doesn't mean you should, like, hate me for it or just automatically throw out the baby with the bathwater because you disagree on one thing. But the reason I kind of stopped following David Icke, I mean, I watch him every now and then because he's kind of backed off the whole reptilian thing. He's explained it now that they use their reptilian side of the brain, and that the reason we see them as reptilians is they, like, essentially they're demon possessed. That they're not, like, physically shapeshifters, that they project, like, a demonic field around them. So that's why they shapeshift on film, or, like, you know, like, that's why we see them as lizards and shit, because they project, like, this demonic field, this presence. And I could get down with the whole shape-shifting on camera as being a demonic entity. I can get down with that. I'm not religious, I'm not Christian, but I've seen a demon in my closet. I've told that story. You can find that on the old channel. Trying to remember what it was called. I think it was just like My Demon Experience or something like that is what I titled it. Or it was like my first live stream. So I know there's other shit out there, and people are like, well, if there's demons, there's got to be angels, so you should be a Christian because of that. Well, not necessarily, you know, because there's all sorts of weird shit out there. I've seen UFO. I believe there's something out there, alien. You could call it the old gods, you could call it fallen angels, you could call it whatever, Nephilim, whatever, Anunnaki. But I also believe in things like jinn. The Bible doesn't talk about jinn, but the Quran talks about jinn, you know, genie. I believe that there's interdimensional beings in general, whether they be extraterrestrial, whether they be demonic, whether they be jinn, whether they be fae folk. A lot of people don't know that the fae folk, the origin of the fae folk is basically when the battle in heaven happened and the rebel angels were thrown out of heaven down to earth, the ones who landed on earth became the fallen angels, aka demons. But the fae folk, which would be like gnomes, fairies, nymphs, elves, dwarves, they didn't completely fall down to earth. You know, they had the rebel angels, and then you had Jehovah's angels. Now, the fae folk would have been angels who were neutral, who were just kind of in the middle of all the chaos, like, I don't know who to side with. It looks like Lucifer's winning right now. Oh, wait, it looks like Jehovah's winning right now. Like, fuck it, we gotta choose a side. They didn't want to be in the battle, but they thought that Lucifer was going to win. They just chose the wrong team. They sided with Lucifer, and during the actual physical fall, they were stuck in between and became the Fae. So, and that's why, honestly, people have good experiences with them. Some people have bad experiences with them. They're just kind of neutral. They do their own thing, you know. But another reason I stopped really listening to David Icke was back when he first woke up. He used to be like a famous soccer player, and then he became a news broadcaster for sports. And then he just kind of woke up and went a little kooky. And that happens when you first wake up. It can happen. I mean, I'm sure a lot of my listeners are like, or people who aren't awake are like, holy shit, this dude's batshit. So, yeah, and he basically said that he was God. That he came out as God. And he ended up wearing like this weird like purple jumpsuit and going around telling people he was God, you know. And I don't know if it could have been just a mental issue, and I'm not judging and I'm not making fun, because I've told you guys about my mental issues and stuff that I have struggled with, and my issues that I struggle with to this day. So I'm not judging or making fun. But, yeah, and then, like, the whole interview, you can pull it up and find it. He's just, like, being laughed at, you know, and I'm not saying it was right that people were making fun of him, but it is kind of like, when someone starts saying stuff like that, I kind of back off and distance myself from them. Like, if you literally think you're God, you know, and he's retracted it, you know, he said it was just something I was going through. It's what I thought at the time, you know, so I get it. But that's why I kind of distanced myself from the whole reptilian thing. I don't know. I mean, it's interesting, it's entertaining, the whole, like, listening to people's accounts of reptilians being, like, in contact with reptilians and stuff. I find it interesting. I love that type of shit, but I love hearing all sorts of stuff. Paranormal, Sasquatch, you know. I love cryptid stories or alien stories in general, but that just because it's an interesting story, or I might tell it on the podcast, it doesn't mean that I automatically believe it, you know. But I think another reason the person got offended when I was telling about David Icke was I had told someone else's joke. I'm a big fan of Last Podcast on the Left. And Henry Zabrowski, he's an actor. He played in Wolf of Wall Street. He's one of the guys on the podcast, and he just has, if you like him, you like him. If you don't, you don't. They cover a lot of the same material that I cover, the same type of stuff, but they're stand-up comedians. They all have like super dark sense of humors. I personally find it hilarious. Two of the guys are LaVeyan Satanists. They're not Luciferian. There is a difference. They're LaVeyans. But he made a joke that he thinks that David Icke, his mind had broken when he was a kid and his pet iguana died. And that's what started the reptilian theory. That he kept, everywhere he'd go, he would see people changing into his dead iguana. And I thought it was a hilarious joke, and I had retold the joke on the video that I originally took down, and I even said, this is not my joke, I just think it's funny, I'm sorry I have a funny bone, I think jokes are funny, you know, I make fun of myself, you know, yeah, hell, I put out a video the other day talking about how I have saggy balls and sometimes I sit on them. If you can't make fun of yourself and you can't make fun of other people, and it's not even technically your joke. You're telling someone else's joke and that offends you. Like, you're listening to the wrong podcast, because I'm here to entertain. I'm here to inform. And if I can, I'm here to make you laugh, you know? And I don't know, it's just people are so triggered, man. And especially when you say something negative about their idol, you know? People worship these people, man. And that's why I've said it. I'm a broken record. I've said it 1,000 times. I don't want to be you guys' idol. I don't want to be you guys' I'm not a hero. I see myself as more of an anti-hero, because I'm an old ex-punk. I used to be a punk rock singer. I'm not the perfect person. I just feel it's a duty that I should share information that I have. Sometimes I don't feel like just spouting off all this info, and I just want to have a sillier episode like this, just talking and having fun, and hopefully it's entertaining for you. You may learn some stuff here and there. You may not. Who knows? But I don't know. There you have it. That's my opinion on Dan Brown, David Icke, Alex Hirsch, my opinion on the reptilians, my opinion on Jesus being married, my opinion on the fae folk and demons and stuff like that. Maybe you learned something, maybe you didn't. Hopefully I answered some of the listeners' questions, and I had kept it up for like 5 minutes and started getting bombarded with trolls, and I don't know, my self-esteem is low sometimes, and I was like, fuck it, I'm not dealing with it. I just took it down. But something inside me was like, you know what, no, fuck them. I'm going to put it up. I'm going to say what I want. It's my First Amendment right. I'm just giving you opinions. I'm not trashing on them. David Icke is one of my heroes, dude. Some of the speeches that he's been putting out on these protests here lately, I literally get cold chills listening to it, I love the dude. I wish the best for the dude. I wouldn't say Dan Brown's a hero of mine, but I am a fan of his. I'm a fan of his work. I think putting out novelized stuff is good to red pill, the ones who are super blue pilled. And, we're supposed to be trying to wake people up. And if it takes a novelized version of a conspiracy to wake someone up, to get them to question, I think it's useful. Some people said it's lies, he's spreading disinfo, he's a CIA agent. I don't know what he is. A lot of people say Alex Jones is CIA or Mossad and he's a disinfo agent, but no one's ever given me evidence that he is a disinfo